So Michael Moses from the Moses Group, if we could have you introduce yourself a little bit, and then please.
Michael Moses of the Moses Group. We have a product line called eCubed Learning. We say eCubed because we believe in education, empowerment, and enrichment to individuals. And we have a booth here, and we're talking about the benefits of online learning for individuals. Okay, good morning, everybody. Gene gave a great talk about online learning and so much of the detail of it. He used no microphone, so I don't know. Can you hear me okay like this, or if I wander off, let me know if I need to come back to the microphone. We're here to talk about online learning, e-learning, the new way of training. We've all been around, at least some of us here, a long time to see how things have changed, the journey then and now, how math was calculated, how communication was made from person to person. There's probably a handful here who remember those rotary phones. Beyond that, we've seen the journey of how we've typed things. We did a survey out there. We asked a couple of younger people about what a Smith Corona is, and one of the guys said, "It's a new beer, isn't it?" So as we go forward, I used to be a proponent of manuals, a training approach that I used for years. I was in a healthcare operation, and we had volumes and volumes of paper, volumes and volumes of manuals, and we found it to be costly and burdensome, expensive, almost impossible to update and reproduce timely before something else changed, and definitely not green friendly. We also found that they were very difficult to revise and disseminate new or updated information. Clearly outdated and an archaic method. Now, when I started looking at online training for myself, I was a naysayer because I'm old school and I believe in the touch and feel approach of paper. I still carry a paper day planner. But I slowly started gravitating to changing it up a little bit. Then we went up to having lecture-led training approaches. We had the classroom environment, we coordinated people coming to the classes, but then we found an inconsistent delivery and a lot of distractions. What was he wearing? Bear with me when I had more hair and a mustache. What was she wearing? Where was, all these things that people remembered versus the curriculum. Further, we had problems with schedules, late arrivals, and of course the personalities and the negative interactions. We have one of our best drivers. We also have a transportation side to our group. Our best driver that drives Nancy and I wherever we go was kicked out of the class by a wheelchair trainer because he got there late and he had a bit of an attitude. He thought the instructor had an attitude. But if we had given him the wheelchair accessibility class online, he could have done it at night, etc. So then I said, what can we do besides instructor-led? Well, I got approached for online learning, and I had a really hard time opening my mind to this. As I did, I realized we had customizability to the content. We converted our current training to online courses. We found it to be hugely cost-effective. We're going to show you some graphs here in a moment about that. In addition, it was green-friendly. Now, back then, green-friendly wasn't a real big phrase. I look back now, the amount of paper we consume in different industries is insane. Also, it was effective. We had interactive pre-testing and post-testing of every course we did. It was flexible, 24/7. Gene Hawk spoke about the TLPA, that it's good to have the student be able to take this course at his or her home. It's important to get the information to them. Many of you approached me in the other room about the verifiability of who passed the test, who took the test. That's a whole nother level of looking. There's ways of doing that, there's ways of structuring that. But the most important thing, as Gene said, is you're getting the information out to the people. I've been in classes where a gentleman who doesn't speak English competently has his child there, has his girlfriend, his wife, who's translating constantly to him. I got to ask myself the question, does it matter whether the wife or girlfriend or son, daughter is there with them or at their desk side in their home to get the information to their head? How you regulars like to test them may be another story. You want them to come to your office, you want to go to a certified testing center, you can do that. But online learning is a way that he or she can learn it, also in an environment that they're comfortable with. It's very important to learn things in an environment you're comfortable with. It's also very student-centered. It's paced to their approach to learning. You can't be everywhere, but your training can be. The lady in the back table has asked a question of every speaker so far. She talked about the human touch of training. The taxi industry is a human business. All the people I've ever met in the regulation side or the taxi, limo, paratransit side are people from the street. Well, in my prior life in healthcare, we had nurses and we had all these people who touched the body. Now that's even more of a human touch. Would you agree, ma'am? Well, we learned by doing video shoots of people in the industry, like the taxi drivers you saw earlier. That is the human touch that counts. My style or Gene's style or anybody else's style of talking to the classroom is important. But the actual person who does the touching is the best person to give your course. They are the best subject matter expert out there. In the entire time we had our online learning, I never was photographed. I was never videotaped. People said I should. I said, no, this is not about me. It's about the people who do the actual work. And what you saw just previously, it's the drivers who make the difference in our industry. It's not the cars we buy, it helps. It's not the computer system they sell us, it helps. But it's the people behind the wheel. So, get back on track. By having the online, you have the ability to automate compliance. You have the ability to train in a very uniform voice. You can free up your resources for growth. A little side item. When we had our internal training, we had certified training nurses, we had me doing some, and we had a compliance lawyer come in 4 times a year, paying about $10,000 each quarter, plus the trainer. We had more violations and fines that way by the federal and state governments than we did when we did online learning. It was an amazing difference. We eliminated delays in training, trying to schedule human beings who all have different issues in their life, their kids, their families, etc. Their car breaks down. And we're able, again, to disseminate information quickly and universally. What's the effect on human capital? How many people have heard that term before? Can you raise your hands? I was asked to speak with a HUD group in Boston, and a man spoke for 3 hours on human capital, and I was truly moved by it. I never saw it that way. That speaks to our greatest asset. The definition is the set of skills which an employee acquires on the job through training, experience, and which increase that employee's value in the marketplace. Now, take the employee out, you can put independent contractor, put volunteer, you can put staff member, anything you want. But that's what drives the bus. Again, it's not our vehicles, it's not our technology, it's the people, like the lady back there, the human touch. And investing in human capital through training, enrichment, and empowerment is a very important thing to do. So the effect on human capital, you increase your retention, you build loyalty, you improve service delivery, you foster accountability. This is a chart of what we found over 5 years. The red line is what we spent just on the nurses who did the training. And I forgot to put in the lawyer until I heard someone speak earlier with a question 2 sessions ago. So we went from about $130,000 of direct out-of-pocket check writing costs to about $48,000 a year, which is a great savings. But we touched the lives of consumers, customers, clients. You can see the hockey stick approach to it. It was truly amazing for us. And I'm the guy who said, with the first man who came to me, Dennis Donovan, about online learning, I said, you gotta be crazy. We're in a human touch business. I think I used a different term. But how can we teach these people with a computer? Well, this was our results, and it's benefited me, and we're taking this sort of to other people, creating online environments. We have a thing in our organization called CPD. We find it to be very important. It speaks to consistency, a uniform message that's given out by your staff to your consumers, your customers, and your public. Predictability. Employees are aware of your expectations, of the regulatory environment expectations, etc., and real-time revisions to the content. Dependability. Job performance is ensured, and verifiable testing. It's important to create alliances, key alliances, strategic alliances with the regulators and the industry. It's important to define, for those 2 groups, the regulators and the industry, to define what are the mutual goals and objectives through the educational model, to collaborate with the best practices they see in that marketplace, disseminate critical information in defined strategic areas. A couple examples of some implementation. We're going to touch upon The TOPS program, you heard about that earlier. We were at the TLPA convention. Nancy and I so liked it. We felt a way to give back to our community would be embrace Robert McBride's and the TLPA's project called TOP. So we're in development stage of a course. You can see it in our booth out there. Our course will include a toolkit, certifications at the end. It's transferable to any municipality, whether it's national or international. It limits travel required for trainers to come to your market. It limits organizing your drivers to come in, your staff to come in, et cetera, downtime. And our timeline to roll this out is between 3 and 5 months. This is where we took content supplied to us as a member of TLPA, and we said, we're going to do it in our marketplace. Went to our regulatory body, got their blessing to endorse this, get their seal of approval on it. We have the TLPA's endorsement to bring this to our market, and we're close to finalize things with them to have this be one of their added benefits to their members. We think it's a way, it's the neighborhood watch on wheels, it's a way to take the industry and raise the bar. And by having the regulatory endorsement, it says the regulatory body does more than compliance and enforcement. They're trying to enrich the safety of everybody involved. And someone said to me, the gentleman from Boston said, what about driver safety? And this course will also be addressing how a driver can see and recognize trouble, report it, and keep he and his passenger out of harm's way. On a more regional basis, we're working with the Hillsborough County Public Transportation Commission to create curriculum for their regulatory guidelines. We operate in 3 counties in the Tampa area, but we found that the Hillsborough County regulations are unique. They're one of the strictest in Florida, and we're embracing that as our course for our drivers in that tri-county market. It's the standard for us to use not only in Hillsborough County, but Pinellas and Pasco County. It teaches all the drivers the most right way of driving and being compliant. It connects them with the community in a way that they're more professional, et cetera. And by having online learning, you create and disseminate event-specific training. I wanted to disagree with one gentleman who said to me last night, Tampa had the Super Bowl twice. I was corrected. I want to correct him. He's on here. But we've had it 4 times. We're a great site for the Super Bowl. We have the Outback Bowl, and we have the Republican National Convention coming next year. So with our online university, we can update drivers instantly, very timely of changes that man and his body back there say, okay, we've changed, we're going to outsource or deliver all the people, et cetera. Our staging areas. And again, reinforcement is simple and effective. I see Charles moving, so I think I'm running out of time. So we find a simple formula for success. The regulators, the industry, and effective training is a win-win. And we believe online learning is a huge element of that. They're still going to get that human touch from seeing drivers on these classes, talking to fellow drivers, et cetera. They're going to get it from being on the street. But it's important for us to get the message out to our human capital aspects, our drivers, our staff, our independent contractors, our consultants in a consistent manner. So I think I'm within my 10 minutes, sir? Mm-hmm. So I get a trophy or something later. Thank you very much for your time.
And thank you very much, Michael. Next is Blair Davies, from the Australian Taxi Industry Association.
Thank you. Look, I represent the Australian Taxi Industry Association. I'm also a Vice President or National Vice President of the TLPA. But these comments are not endorsed by the TLPA, and therefore they are my views and my views alone. Just for your benefit, Australia's a long way away and in a different time zone. It's about 5:30 in the morning, so I'd be normally waking up about now, and this is probably about as good as I look at that time. I've been nodding off all day, so I apologise for that. For those people that don't know it, Australia is significantly smaller than the USA. Our Australian dollar is doing better than the US currency at the moment. We've got 19,500 taxi cabs, pardon me, which would probably make us about 10% of the US market, I suppose. And